So one of the very few changes that happened when CS2 actually released was a change to the drop system for items. Before, every week you would essentially just get a drop of a case plus a skin, but with the release of CS2 they've changed that up a lot, and now that the game's been out for a while, I like to analyze if this new drop system has had any major effect on the market, and what it means for things like case investing. We'll get into that after a word from our sponsor, Skin Auctions. The sponsor for today's video is Skin Auctions. Skin Auctions is a great way to spice up your normal buying and selling process, mostly because you can literally get skins on here for 90% off. No, like, actually, this happens all the time. I was surprised too. I know that sounds suspicious, but I actually know the people behind this. It's fully legit. So here's how it works. First, you want to head over to the free bids page, and you can go ahead and collect daily free bids. If you're one of the first, you can use this code for a little bonus, or you can do some easy tasks to get free bids. After that, you'll want to head over to the deposit page so you can start bidding. There's quite a few different deposit options, including CSGO items. Once you get topped up, you can head over to the auctions page to pick out some items that you want to bid on. You can either bid normally once the auction starts, or you can use a feature called Bidmo. Bidmo lets you automate your bids on items, so you can go to the upcoming auction section and use Bidmo if you're not going to be there for the actual auction. You can get all kinds of things, liquid skins or even some knives, so it's definitely worth checking out Skin Auctions using my link in the description below. So if you remember back to the final change they made to the drop system in CSGO, which is the one where they made it so that a case and a skin drops to every player once per week, we saw this at the very beginning positively affecting case prices. They actually kind of skyrocketed right when this update first came out, but afterward they started to decline more. And this is mostly because the initial opinion on this update was that it would make cases more scarce, but after we had it for a while we realized that the cases were now guaranteed as a drop to everybody. This created a much larger supply of cases, and every week that a reset happened, cases fell in price. With the CS2 update, things are a little bit different. They added the ability to choose your drops from a pool of 4. Now generally speaking, when you get your weekly drop, you'll be able to pick a case and a skin that you want, and be able to take those home instead of a graffiti. Now obviously the drop system is dynamic. You're not always going to get the exact same set of drops. Some weeks you may have 2 skins to choose from, and some weeks you may have 2 graffitis to choose from, for example. Now when I saw this new drop system, the thing that I immediately thought is, how is this going to affect graffitis? Graffitis are a very unpopular part of the CS market. Even the graffitis that have the higher prices have extremely low volume and tend to get manipulated. But now things are kind of interesting, because with this new drop system, graffitis are basically the absolute last choice. There's almost never going to be a reason for someone to take a graffiti over a skin, and they don't have to. They have that choice. So one of the initial questions I had is if this was going to make graffitis more scarce and therefore make them rise in price. But in hindsight, that question was a little bit silly, and here's why. Like I just said, the most expensive graffitis have extremely low volume. This is because basically nobody buys them despite them being extremely scarce. And the same is true for actively dropping graffitis. Even though nobody is really picking them from their weekly drops, they're also not buying them on the market and aren't really using up their supply. So despite a lot lower number of graffitis being introduced into the game, that doesn't actually really matter because people don't really care about graffitis in the first place. So for the most part, graffitis have pretty much stayed stagnant, despite there being a lot less of them in circulation, logically at least. This also goes to prove one of the fundamental core aspects of CS investing, which is that demand matters a lot more than supply. Even though graffitis aren't being supplied at the same rate they were before, because people don't care about them, they still end up not being good investments. There's also a second supply-related issue here for the future performance of graffitis. So hypothetically speaking, if graffitis were to actually rise due to their scarcity, the active drop system still won't work in their favor. Because if graffitis suddenly become more valuable, people will just simply pick them over the skins, and therefore there will be too much supply of them, and they'll get priced back down by the market. So basically, despite this new drop system making graffitis more scarce, it doesn't actually matter, and graffitis are still a terrible investment. Mostly because they don't have any demand, and because their supply is dynamic anyway, so even if they were to give you any returns, they wouldn't last. But that being said, it also raises the question of actively dropping skins as well. Since people are able to choose skins over graffitis, that means there will also be a lot more circulated skins. And honestly, this has actually impacted the market. If you look at, for example, popular trade-up fillers like the SSG Acid Fade, or the MP7 Anodized Navy, or the Sawed-Off Amber Fade, which are all actively dropping trade-up fillers, their prices have actually been on quite a downtrend. And this is likely due in part, at least, to the larger availability of them thanks to the new drop system. However, I also believe it's due to normal market corrections that have happened because of those super high CS2 related prices that we had originally. Anyway, that's basically how the new drop system has affected items. It'll be interesting to see if Valve releases new actively dropping collections. By now, the ones we currently have been out for quite a while, about 5 years at least. So maybe an update to the actively dropping skin pool will be an update that Valve considers sometime in the future. On a purely investing side of things, it doesn't really seem like this new active drop system creates really any major opportunities, but it is nice that it has kind of made the supply of cases a lot more stable, with curbing the prices of the actively dropping cases. In terms of cases, Fracture has been in the active drop pool the longest, so there is some logic to say that it'll be the next case that is removed from the drop pool and put into the rare drop pool. So for that reason, some people, including me, have invested in Fracture cases for the potential chance of it getting moved to the rare drop pool. So at least for this video topic, that's pretty much the closest investing related thing. Anyway, that analysis is all I really wanted to do in this video, so thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, helps me immensely and costs you absolutely nothing. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for the best CS2 investment tips anywhere else on YouTube. Check out my Discord server and my Twitter with the links below. I'll answer all your questions completely completely for free. And be sure to check out the sponsor, Skin Auctions. Thanks guys, see you next time, peace.